Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as always, back on F1 2019. And this video is a little bit of a different one. This is a practice session that I did for the Singapore Grand Prix Inside Line Racing League, which I did last night. Won't spoil the result or anything if you haven't seen it. I was really coming into this, really looking forward to this, and many of you will probably be surprised. Might think it's a track that doesn't really suit me, but on previous days, in my controller days, pad days, this was one of my favourite tracks. I just feel you have to attack it all the time to be good. And I've been really analysing my driving style quite a bit recently on this game. I feel like I'm just a little bit too smooth and just not applying nowhere near as much steering lock or anything at all. So for this, and I've been working very, very hard this past week to really just be a lot more aggressive with the wheel. And this is a practice session with V Syra, who I think he's the best. Well, I think he's one of the best. Him and Surprise, it's really a toss-up between them two. The best driver on Xbox right now, and his speciality is just getting out in the lead, creating a gap. We've seen that many, many times, and around this track, he is very, very good. He's almost got the world record around here. So I felt this is a really good test of going against him in practice. In race conditions, my fuel, you would have seen from my stream last night that I actually underfueled way more than this as well. So this is actually more fuel than I was going to have. And yeah, going back to my driving style, I feel being super smooth and not putting much steering input was really suited to F1 2018, which is why towards the end of the game started picking up quite a few wins and everything like that. But on this game, I've been watching quite a few drivers, looking at their footage actually recently, and that's the way to learn, is to look at other people who are just that little bit further ahead of you at the moment. And that goes for anyone. It doesn't matter if you were amazing in the past or you won races in this game or anything at all. There's always something that you can learn, and I feel just being a bit more aggressive and short shifting upon traction, that's something I've really tried to put into this week when I'm driving these races. But yeah, this one here, really pushing the limits of a track, and I can tell you now, it is so hard to keep up with this guy. This guy is just relentless when he gets the lead, when there's no cars in front of him. He is on the controller, and having been a controller myself, or controller player myself from F1 2011, back when I first started playing competitively, up until 2017, so 6 years that I was on the controller and won many races, many leagues. I felt I reached probably the peak of what I could reach on the controller at the time, likes of me and myself and Tierra Martin. This guy, I think he's pretty much there at the same level as well, as we're almost losing the car, and when he gets the lead, he is just so hard to crack and stay with, to be honest. Not many people can stay with him, so I'm just really showing this raw gameplay of what a very intense practice session actually looks like, and I'll be talking about what I'm thinking about as I'm driving here, and also just the lines I'm taking, the braking points, everything, and I'll be talking over that at the start of the next lap. But my mind right now is really just to push it. I just feel I've just been very, very cautious recently with my driving, trying to not overheat the tyres or anything at all, whereas on this game you don't really need to worry about that nowhere near as much. I feel I'm kind of stuck in how I was driving on 2018, which worked very, very well, particularly at the end of the game as well, when I pretty much mastered the setup and everything. So this game, you really have to be a lot more forceful going into it. Still be smooth, but just controlled aggression. So start the lap now. Let's see where I'll be braking. So looking at that black box, as you pass that, that's where you'll be turning about. Actually, to go in a little bit deep this time, so not a perfect example. Late apex going through this corner, second, third, fourth, going up to 6th gear. Once you hit the curb, that's where you want to be braking slow in, fast out, getting the DRS as early as you can if you are still within the DRS zone. For this corner, staying in 7th gear. As the barrier finishes, that's where you want to be turning it. Really try and hook your car on the inside apex there. Look for the black box again. Just before that, that's where you'll be braking and turning in. First gear if you need to get extra rotation. Go away out to the black box just before that. Going 3rd gear again, just that extra bite into the corner. This one here is 6th gear. When we're braking early for this, about the 50-meter board, clipping the inside curb, 3rd gear to drag it around, hold it in 3rd, all the way over this curb and kissing this curb as well. Hold it in 4th gear, stay as wide as possible. Super late apex. On short shifting into 2nd just to minimize the wheel spin. Going up through the gears now, I keep it in 6th gear for some engine braking. Just between the two balls, about 75 meters out, 2nd gear, up into 3rd, keep it a nice straight line. Hold it in 5th. Once the car's straight, that's where you want to be braking and turning half on this curb. Get loads of the car on this curb as well. Look for the black box. As you hit that, that's your braking point and turn slightly after. Middle of the track, go all over this curb once again. Once you pass the DHL sign above you, that's where you want to be turning in, hooking the cars over here, but making sure the rear does not step out. Black box again, once you pass that, could have turned a little bit earlier, but going on the throttle and DRS, and we're still in the 39s on lap 4, which is very, very quick. This time, better through turn 1. You really just want to be really half on the curbs in this track. It's really essential you do that. And if you've practiced this track, you know that tyre wear or just a tyre temp is a really big issue around here. So this pace is actually extremely good. And you can see, I think we're comfortably staying with him. Arguably, I think we are actually fast at this point. Again, try and go slow in, fast out through here. Always braking in a straight line. 1st gear, last minute. And again, aiming for that black box just before that. 3rd gear, you could go in 4th if you perfect it. But I just find just going a little bit deep and then just rotating the car with the lower gears really helps. And through here, I always use 3rd. I feel it's very good, and I feel I'm very quick for this section of the track. Really braking late in a straight line again, and then short shifting into 2nd. As always, as we almost lose the car, so that's just an indicator of the tyre wear, and the tyre temps are now going up because it's very hard to do very quick laps in this. 2nd gear, 3rd gear to short shift, and again going underneath the 2019 sign. Always brake in a straight line, and again hooking half your car. That's probably the most curb you take on the track, is on that corner there. And for this one, you can try and take it there, but it's a big risk of actually flirting with the walls around here. And I love this last sector. This last sector, I feel I'm just bouncing around on the limit here, and you can see we really are starting to put him under some pressure now. And coming through here, we've got the DRS sign once again, and you notice the fuel, you can definitely under fuel around here. Maybe not completely under fuel, depends on really your driving style, but for me, it's suiting me very well. And maintaining or topping up quite a bit of the ERS here. And now at this point, I was very happy with how I was driving. I feel you can't afford to be tentative around here. You really have to really attack the corners, and that's what I'm doing around this track. And just with my input as well, you can see just being a lot more aggressive with my steering input, and also on the throttle and brake as well. I feel I'm just being way too smooth on all applications previously, and you can see through this just kind of new driving style, just mindset I have, I'm just definitely just being a lot more aggressive, and it's paying off because I feel I'm just kind of naturally smooth anyway, smoother than quite a lot of people, so I shouldn't really be at risk at overheating my tyres. And now you can see through this section of the track, we are really starting to hustle him here. 2nd gear, let's see if we can get a good exit, but he always gets a good exit. The pad has got a notorious reputation of being very good on traction here, but going through this section, I feel I'm definitely the quicker driver going through. I feel a couple of sections of this track, missing that apex ever so slightly, but hooking it for the left-hander here in the car, wanting to get away from me. Using lean and no ERS is quite a big thing around here because you really do need some good traction. If you just left it in standard and high, I promise you that your tyres would be absolutely blowing up, and now putting them under some pressure. And now I've gone into attack mode, I've gone into hot lap, and then let's see if I can get close. Not really a big enough straight to try and attack him going into this one, and let's see if I can get a good corner this time. I want to take about half the car in there, but it's a very big risk of a corner cut. And let's see, this is probably the closest that I have been so far, so I'm putting it into rich and hot lap here, but we are using that 1111 wings, which I know quite a lot of people don't use around here, but for me, the rest of my setup, it really balances out pretty perfectly. Going into this turn one, this is definitely the closest we've been to going purple first sector, so still doing 39s and stuff as well on these tyres. And these aren't fresh tyres. Well, actually, I think they might be fresh tyres. That's true, actually. These are actually fresh tyres, but nonetheless, it's still pretty difficult. As you can see, almost losing the car now. And going through this sector, I was really trying to just, I think on this track, since it's so hard to overtake, you really just got to feel the mirrors of the car ahead. And if you do that, it's very, very easy to make a mistake, not just through track penalties or anything, but just going into the wall. And the problem is, if you stay behind the car a little bit, you tend to overdrive a little bit, and you can see starting to get a little bit of oversteer now. But this is, again, probably the closest that I've been through this middle sector, so I'm really trying to hustle them through this last sector, getting a little bit better of a corner this time. He actually misses that apex, but I almost got out wide, I almost hit the wall completely, just fractions away from the wall here, but really aggressive to the left-hander. Kissing that curb, you either want to kiss it or completely just mount it. And again, have to hook your car on the inside here. You can see the car wanting to get away from me, and going through this last corner, the more the laps pass, the earlier you're going to have to turn in because of the understeer of the tyres. That's something you really need to do. And going through his turn one, he's made a little bit of a mistake here going through it, and he actually has gone off the track, and that is game over for him. But now we're actually going to see what our pace is like, and again, hopefully this is a video that you can learn from. I felt I was driving extremely well, and if you're struggling around Singapore, watching these lines, the way I'm doing the ERS and the fuel, and just the controlled aggression on the wheel, I think this is a very good way to drive around here, a very quick way to drive while saving your tyres as well. And now, in my mind, I was just going to see, okay, I've been able to stay with him pretty nicely. Let's see if I can pull away from him, and already feeling like I've just got more tyres, just more pace in him. Going into third gear again, just really staying far left as possible, and pretty much getting that perfect almost every single lap. Hold it in fourth gear, once it's straight, turn in, and now I'm not the car behind, so I probably won't be getting as much oversteer, and you can see we're already putting a little bit of a gap. The braking points don't really change that much. It's really just as the tyres start to wear, you have to turn in just earlier every single lap, so you just got to turn in just that fraction later every single lap. But now my mind was, I just really want to try and send a message, try and break out of his DRS. If I can do that, then it will give me some very good confidence going to the race. And it's really important in practice, and who you practice with as well. If you're practicing against someone good and you're performing well against them, it gives you some very good confidence. And he's actually gone into the pits already, so his tyres, I think, are just completely done. So that is just a raw, intense gameplay of a practice session from Singapore. The highlights of this race will be coming out this Tuesday, so I really do hope you enjoyed that one. I think, yeah, he just pitted for the hard tyres. But again, thank you so much for supporting me. I'll probably leave up my laps on the screen now, but as always, thank you very much. Peace.